Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is our single cab short box turbo truck with one problem: doesn't have an engine. And if you've watched the previous videos in this series, you'll know that we took this piston out of this engine over here, and we're in the process of building this aluminum 5.3 to go back in the truck. And with the addition of this aluminum 5.3 and this True North Turbo 79mm, we're gonna have a ball of fun. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, you're not gonna miss this. Let's get to doing stuff. We definitely finished a little bit prematurely last video, so we're gonna take the crank out of this thing, we're gonna knock the cam bearings out of it so we can get ready to dingly ball hone it, put some new cam bearings in it, put some new rings on some new pistons. They're not really new, they're used, but they're like good used. Probably should have took this rear cover off before putting the engine stand on. Now the main caps can come out. Usually you'd want to mark stuff like this, but the main caps on the LS are already marked, and then number 5 is actually switched backwards, so just remember that when you go to put it back together, that all these ears right here on the LS pointing one way towards the back, and then the one in the back actually pointing forward. Make sure you keep your bearings with the same ones you took them off too. Not bad, not bad. This one actually has a thrust bearing on it, so it's a little bit harder to get out. And the big crank in these things weighs at least about 50 jillion pounds. We just need a spot to put it. I have a feeling I'm not going to use this crank. I'm actually going to use the crank out of that engine, probably because it's in a bit better shape. This one looks like it's got some miles on it. We'll probably need a polish if I want to use it good, but I feel like I'm going to use the other crank. Oh yeah, 50 majillion pounds. And now we'll take our bearings and put them with the corresponding minty fresh. Now that's everything but the cam bearings out, and since we looked at them, they're definitely going to be bad. That's a reference to the sloppy mechanics days. And for everybody who misses the Colorado build on sloppy mechanics, this is kind of filling that void for you, I'm being told. So hope you really enjoy it. So we'll knock the cam bearings out of this thing, and then it'll be ready to be dingly ball honed. And what I mean by dingly ball hone is there's a little thingamajigger that has like little steel balls sticking off of it, and you just kind of like, with some lube, and then it spins this way, and it thingamajigs, and it's supposed to be better for the ring. Now every time I need a tool, I end up buying it just for occasions like this. As you see, I have a really big assortment of kits. Most of them eBay, but on the off chance you buy something neat, and you get a cam bearing tool. Look at that. Perfect. We'll just kind of like forcefully whack them out. Easy cakes. These ones are actually like split bearings, it looks like. We'll get a new set. And just like that, we've got us a bare block. It's so nudie right now, but it feels really embarrassed. So I'm gonna use this little brass brush here and just go around some of the spots that have some heavy dirt on them, just to try and loosen it up and see if we can make this block a little more presentable. Oh man, does this ever need like a hot tank bath? Got the GoPro out. There's probably no better way to clean this engine, in my opinion, that I can think of right now, than to just throw it in the back of the truck and take it to a car wash. That's probably the best way to do this right now. The easiest way to do this is probably just to carry it, right? It only weighs like as much as me as if I took my arms, my head, and my legs off. I think the aluminum block is only like 120 pounds. Well, obviously the GoPro died at the car wash, so I couldn't show you car washing it, but I got myself all wet. Yeah. Now clean it out before it rusts. Then I'm just gonna add a little bit of WD-40 to it just so hopefully it doesn't rust while I let it sit for a bit. WD-40, water displacement 40, get it? Getting rid of the water.
Just give it a shot, WD-30, that'll fix it right up.
All right, the block is like okay clean right now. Much more manageable to work with now than it was before. But I'm gonna go ahead and take some Scotch-Brite, clean up the deck surfaces here, put some elbow grease into this thing, and then finally get to the point where we're ready to reassemble it all. Also, here's our Gen 4 rods and pistons that were supposed to be for a backup engine, but I guess we're using them for this engine. Yeah, those are, they need to be gapped a little bit, but we're putting new rings in it anyway, so we'll gap them when we put new rings in them. Well, this side could use probably a little bit more of a scuff, but going from this side to this side, you can definitely see where my shoulder hurts now. Usually I'm like a 30 to 45 second shoulder motion kind of guy, and this took like 20 minutes, so you can tell that my shoulder is definitely kind of sore. Well, basically 2 hours of scrubbing later, and we've got some surfaces that we can put some head gaskets on again. There's probably a way faster method of doing this. I'm just afraid of using a rotary tool in case I like dig into it and leave like a low spot, and then you gotta get it decked and get foobarred. I'm gonna start disassembling the pistons now so we can start cleaning those things. I bought some oven cleaner to clean those. I don't know if you're supposed to use it or not, but that's what I'm going to use. Now I hope I didn't lose you guys yet, and I really encourage you to try and do something like this on your own. The LS engine is so easy and there's so much information out there that you could probably do it yourself. It's really not that difficult, and you just take your time and follow the instructions. You too could build yourself an LS engine. We're gonna start pulling apart these pistons. I'm probably gonna pull the pins out of them all, pull the connecting rods, mainly the grooves behind the pistons here. So there's probably carbon behind all of these rings. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna break off one of these rings here. We're just gonna use it to scrape the inside of the carbon out of all of the ring insides, and that will give us a nice spot to put our new rings. We're gonna put some gloves on because you gotta keep your meat beaters clean. And let's get to pulling some stuff off. We're not keeping these ones, so I don't care about putting them on or off correctly. Really, you'd wanna pull them apart evenly over the top, which I'm not doing right now. And yeah, so you can't really see in there, but it's definitely full of carbon. If we break, where's the lighter ring here? This one. Break that ring off and start. I'll just put it on the blue piece right here. But all this fine stuff is stuck in behind the rings, so we're gonna get rid of that. So we're just gonna pop out these little retainer rings. Popped out. Now we should be able to press this pin out, but usually they're a little bit stuck on this used stuff, like that. So what I found works really well, 3/8 extension on a 3/8 extension, and just kinda piston. Remember that piece we found in the oil tray in the last video? That is this piece. It was a piece of this piece right here, which belongs on the lower part of the piston right there. As you can see, there's lots of junk in there. Lots of cleaning to do. One. So after what feels like forever, our pistons are cleaned up now. They're ready for rings. When we get the rings, we'll be getting those on Friday. Today is Wednesday. We're actually heading out of town for a convention with Gina, and the Trailer Park Boys are going to be there, which, you know me, I'm the biggest fan. I feel like cutting my hair and shaving my face just to be like Julian, but hair is too luscious right now. So maybe when I come home after, I'm going to dingly ball home the block, and then everything is ready for when we get the cam bearings, the rings, and the head gaskets to assemble this whole short block again. We got to get one for the thumbnail, but it's got to be the right one, man. Up a little tiny bit because my head is tall. Yeah, thumbnail photos. I needed a cool thumbnail. I guess I promised you guys a dingly ball hone. And I'm not here to disappoint. I believe this one's like a 4-inch one, so it's gonna fit in our bore. You don't wanna put this thing in dry, because there's so many jokes that are just coming naturally right now. So we're gonna lube this thing up with some engine oil probably. And I don't like doing this part because it gets real messy. Last time we did this was on Gina's motor and she was doing it. I don't want to jinx myself, but my old motor and Gina's motor worked really well, and we assembled them here in this garage in this engine building room when they work good. And I don't want to get the camera too close because contents may splash, but we want to essentially lube up the cylinder, lube up this dingly ball. That's why I left all the rags on the floor, because it's about to get messy. Probably gonna spray this. Basically, we want to stroke it in and out while spinning it at speed to kind of get our cross hatching back in the cylinder bores, because they're completely glazed over right now, and that's what happens after 200,000 kilometers. So try and get this. Just like that. You don't want to put it in without it spinning, and you don't want to pull it out without it spinning. You can now see we've got that one scuffed up compared to how just glazed over that one is. So we'll do this to the rest of them. And honestly, I never know if I'm doing this right, so never take my videos as like tips and tricks how to do things. Always look up a how-to video, and then if you want to learn how to get by and do stuff, then you can watch my videos. Or if you're just here for strictly the mushroom style looking haircut right now. That's kind of the finished product in there. Now this step right here is so crucial. Don't think you can just take one of these and like wipe out the cylinders. That's not gonna be enough. All that grit that is on the dingly ball hone is gonna end up in all those cross hatchings. So you're gonna need to take out the big guns. You're gonna need at least 6 or 7 or 9 or 12 cans of brake clean. Also, I hear that ATF on a coffee filter works really well too for getting the last little bit out, but the block is definitely gonna need a little bit more prep than just running one of these down there. Like that was just one cylinder. You want to take this guy, you want to make sure that both doors in the garage are closed, and you just want to... And now you want to wait 5-10 minutes with the doors closed just to be sure you get the full effect. Man, today's the oldest you've ever been, but also the youngest you'll ever be. We're gonna go ahead and just bag this thing up like you would with your best friend's sister. Because like I said, we're waiting on parts. I'll be getting them tomorrow when we go out of town for our convention. So when we come back, we'll be able to assemble a short block. It seems like in Canada, my whole life, we're just waiting on parts. But this gives us an opportunity to open up those heads that we have for my car. And the only place to do it perks of having a truck, man. Look at that. That was an extra bench that we didn't have 2 seconds ago. We're just gonna open up one because they're both the same. Fast as cast, baby. So I have to thank Brian Nutter from Summit Racing and Donald Reed from Total Engine Airflow for helping me track down a set of these heads, and then Nick for convincing me to put them on my car. These are the Trick Flow Fast as Cast LS1 style heads. And these things are not just your run-of-the-mill, we found a casting on the internet, we got it made, and we sent it to you bullshit, like these ones are. And even though the ports are bigger, so to say, on these ones, they flow like total garbage. So we're taking these things off when we have the opportunity, and these things are gonna go on. Like, they just look a lot better. And now it's crazy, and I know you guys are gonna be like, yeah, told you so, stupid ass. This is what the budget allowed, these China heads. And like I said, I got advice, and I was like, do these work? And they were like, yeah, these work. The amount of money that I put into these heads to make them work now, to point where, like, I'm not even sure if they're still gonna work. I could have bought a set of those heads in my initial budget. So if I would have just spent a little bit more in the front half, I wouldn't have to spend all this time and effort in the back half. Who would have known? It's not like everybody knew that. I don't have the whole spec sheet on these things right now, and I'll have it for you next video when we do go put them on. I do know that Nick sorted these out for boost, so I know they have the powdered metal guides in them, so those shouldn't break off. They have a built-in thicker deck in them, so that helps with the clamping capacity, because we do push heads at like 35 pounds of boost with the 5.3s. And you know what? They should just overall be a better package for what we're dealing with now. So I'm stoked on having these, and I hope this solves all of our engine issues, because I'm to the point now where, like, I don't even want to run the car because I'm just scared it's going to break on me. Which it shouldn't be that way, because the engine that we're building right now for the truck is literally the same engine that we built for the car last year, and it went like 850s a million times before we were like, how much boost will this take? 39 pounds? Okay, bend the rods. And then it only bent the rods. It still drove its ass in the trailer. That just goes to show, like, my confidence in this new engine is literally, like, I'm to the point now where I'm like, if it blows up, it blows up. I'm just gonna put a stock motor back in it. Package these bad boys back up, because I won't be able to touch them until we get back next week. Assembling engines, much like welding, it's all in the prep time, so the more time you spend cleaning and making sure everything's right, the better it's gonna turn out for you. I really hope you guys enjoy this truck build. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Peace, easy, and good heavy.